Imagine living in a country where old traditions and peculiar rules shape every aspect of daily life. A place with special markets for divorced women seeking new partners, where girls are encouraged to gain weight to please their partners, and where, fascinatingly, there exists a community of people born blind. In this video, we will explore life in Mauritania and reveal some surprising facts that will shock you. Get ready to uncover hidden truths and marvel at what you'll learn. Before we start the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's free, and it encourages me to keep bringing more quality content to you. Mauritania is located in northwestern Africa, spanning an area of about 1,030,000 square kilometers, making it the 29th largest country in the world. Its territory is predominantly desert, with over 90% covered by arid and semi-arid regions, including parts of the Sahara Desert. Despite its impressive size, most of the population lives in limited areas, mainly in the southern part of the country, where conditions are relatively milder. Due to the extreme dryness of the soil, agriculture in Mauritania is nearly impossible. People mainly rely on livestock farming and consume meat, dates, and peanuts in their meals. Animals also provide milk, wool, and other essential resources for survival in the desert. With the Atlantic Ocean along its coast, fishing is also a vital source of livelihood for the population. However, life in Mauritania is harsh, with a life expectancy of only 46 years due to resource scarcity and challenging living conditions. The market for divorced women in Mauritania is a fascinating and unique social feature that reflects deep aspects of the country's culture and traditions. These markets are social events where women, separated from their husbands, seek new partners. In a society where divorce is relatively common and socially accepted, these markets provide divorced women with opportunities to find new husbands, particularly given the high divorce rate. The concept might seem unusual in many cultures, but in Mauritania, these markets play an important role. They not only help women find new partners, but also serve as venues for trading goods and services. Women participate in these markets to sell items like clothing, handicrafts, food, and spices, enabling them to earn income after separation. Additionally, these markets offer a platform for empowerment and rebuilding life after divorce. Interestingly, there is a cultural tendency for unmarried men to prefer marrying divorced women, as they believe these women are more experienced and mature. The perception is that divorced women possess greater skills in managing domestic life and are considered better able to care for their husbands. This contrasts with the view that young, unmarried women are more vulnerable to the harsh living conditions of the country. Moreover, the dowry required to marry a divorced woman is generally lower, making this option more economically accessible. Thus, the markets for divorced women in Mauritania reflect how social norms and economic needs shape marital and social practices in the region. Regarding health, it is important to inform visitors that tap water in Mauritania is not safe for consumption, whether on the streets or at home, as it contains various contaminants that can cause severe illnesses. However, Mauritanians are accustomed to using this water regularly. For them, water, even of inferior quality, is extremely valuable, especially considering that in some desert countries, it is nearly impossible to obtain. Toujou is a village in Mauritania, known for a unique and remarkable characteristic. All its residents are visually impaired. This eye condition is a rare and fascinating phenomenon, believed to have affected the community for about 10 generations. The village is located in the northern part of the country, a region facing significant climatic and socio-economic challenges, adding extra complexity to the lives of its inhabitants. The residents of Toujou believe their blindness is a manifestation of divine will. For them, this condition is not seen as a curse, but as an integral part of their destiny and identity. This spiritual and cultural perspective shapes the community's approach to disability and their daily needs. Blindness is thus deeply intertwined with their traditions and beliefs, reflecting a worldview in which suffering and adversity are accepted as part of God's greater plan. A shocking curiosity about Mauritania is the custom of belly dancing as a rite of passage for teenage girls. In some communities, these dances are used to assess the beauty and health of young women, and in extreme cases, there may be intense social pressure for the girls to gain weight to meet traditional aesthetic standards. This practice, deeply rooted in local culture, raises questions about the pressures on young women's bodies and health, reflecting customs that may seem vastly different from Western standards, while highlighting the cultural complexities and contrasts of the country. Unlike its neighbor Morocco, which attracts many tourists, Mauritania remains largely undiscovered by travelers and is considered unsafe by many travel agencies. However, if you decide to visit the country, you'll notice that a large part of the population is young, with 40% of the people under 20 years old. The Arabic culture strongly embraced in Mauritania brings with it customs such as eating with the right hand and women wearing modest clothing that covers their legs and arms. Visitors should respect these traditions and avoid provocative clothing. Nouakchott, the country's capital, is a port city in western Mauritania on the Atlantic Ocean. It is the most populous and bustling city in the country, mainly due to fishing. From a bird's-eye view, Nouakchott appears relatively modern compared to other desert areas, but this was not always the case. Originally a small fishing village, it was chosen as Mauritania's capital in 1958, shortly before independence from France. Since then, the city has experienced rapid growth, posing significant challenges in terms of infrastructure, public services, and urban planning. Today, Nouakchott is home to about 1 million people. In smaller towns scattered across the country, paved roads are almost non-existent, with transportation routes consisting of gravel roads. When a car passes, dust rises, and since not all families have access to vehicles, it's more common to see people traveling on donkey-drawn carts than in motorized vehicles. Mauritania faces significant socio-economic challenges, with much of the population living in extreme poverty. The country's economy heavily relies on exporting natural resources such as iron and copper, but the wealth generated by these sectors does not translate into improved living conditions for most citizens. Inadequate infrastructure, limited access to education and healthcare, and a lack of drinking water further exacerbate the population's hardships. In rural areas, poverty is even more pronounced, with entire communities struggling to survive in an environment marked by constant droughts and a lack of economic opportunities. The government of Mauritania operates under a republican system, but faces significant challenges related to corruption and administrative transparency. Although efforts have been made to consolidate democracy since its independence from France in 1960, allegations of corruption are frequent, ranging from the embezzlement of public funds to irregularities in government contracts. This systemic corruption undermines economic and social development, diverting funds that could be invested in critical areas such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Furthermore, the lack of effective oversight mechanisms and limited press freedom make it difficult to hold authorities accountable, perpetuating public distrust in the political system. Combating corruption is essential to strengthening governance and promoting a more equitable distribution of resources in the country. Poverty in Mauritania is an alarming issue that affects a significant portion of the population, especially in rural areas. The country faces major challenges such as a lack of basic infrastructure, limited access to healthcare and education services, and a scarcity of drinking water, compounded by extreme climatic conditions and frequent droughts. Despite being rich in natural resources like iron, copper, and recently discovered gas fields, the unequal distribution of wealth prevents the economic benefits from reaching the majority of its citizens. Many communities rely on subsistence activities, such as fishing and livestock farming, but struggle due to resource shortages and a lack of government support. This combination of factors perpetuates a cycle of poverty, making the implementation of more inclusive and sustainable policies essential to improving the country's quality of life. Theft and robbery in Mauritania reflect the socio-economic difficulties faced by the country, particularly in urban and peripheral areas. In cities like Nouakchott, the capital, rising unemployment and poverty contribute to the prevalence of these crimes, ranging from petty thefts in local markets to more organized robberies. The lack of efficient policing and the limited resources of security forces make it difficult to prevent and resolve such offenses, increasing the sense of insecurity among residents. Additionally, stark economic inequalities create an environment where criminal activity is often seen as a means of survival for the most vulnerable. Improving living conditions, investing in public security, and promoting social programs are essential steps to reducing these rates and strengthening safety across the country. Mauritania's official currency is the ouguiya, MRO, which plays a crucial role in the country's economy. Due to economic constraints and financial instability, the ouguiya has a relatively low value compared to other international currencies. Currently, the exchange rate is approximately €1 to about 41 ouguiyas, though this rate may fluctuate with market changes. The devaluation of the ouguiya reflects Mauritania's economic challenges, including its reliance on raw material exports and limited economic diversification. The flag of Mauritania closely resembles that of the Maldives, both featuring a red and green background, with green symbolizing Islam, the predominant religion in the country. Mauritanians refer to themselves as Lords of the Desert, and an interesting fact is that the longest trains in the world traverse these arid regions, transporting iron, copper, and fish to various parts of the world. It's possible that many of the iron products you use today originate from Mauritania's mines. The country's economy relies on the export of iron, copper, and fish, and recently discovered gas reserves estimated at 10,000 billion cubic meters are set to begin extraction by 2025. If you enjoyed these insights into Mauritania, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your subscription and support are crucial for us to continue delivering great content. Until next time.